the following discussion, we spoke to Andreas Xirocostas, Managing Director of SAP for Greece, Cyprus, and Malta, and a leader who has spent over 2 decades rising through the ranks of one of the world's most influential technology companies. From engineering and consulting to leading national markets, he has helped bring enterprise software that powers finance, manufacturing, supply chains, and decision-making for some of the world's largest organizations. This is our discussion with Andreas Xirocostas. As Managing Director as SAP for Greece, Cyprus, and Malta, what are your core strategic responsibilities and how do you balance commercial growth, digital transformation, and regional policy alignment?
First of all, it's a great pleasure being invited and having this wonderful discussion with yourself. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Being a managing director is trying to balance between different things. The main focus first of all, what I say is that I'm responsible for the company. For me, this is not something that you have as an authority. It's something that you have as a responsibility. So when they ask me what I'm doing, I'm saying that I'm responsible for everybody. The main decision, the main, let's say, task that I have to do, like everybody else, is to try to balance between different priorities. First of all, the priorities are set by the group. So we don't create the priorities. We try to implement the strategy of the company. So the company tells us where we have to go, and we decide how we will go there. So our, let's say, power is in decision-making about the process and the roadmap towards the success that the company asks from ourselves. As you have said, there are different priorities. First of all, every company wants to grow. That's why we're here. Companies are here because they want to grow, they want to make money for the investors, for everybody, and at the same time to follow a certain roadmap towards the purpose that we have, because it's not only the commercial. Every company has a purpose. For instance, SAP says that we are here to make people's life better. So every day we have to do different and sometimes controversial things. At the same time, we have to balance between priorities that have to do with qualitative and quantitative aspects. So the first priority is to grow, to establish ourselves better in the market, to create more customers, to preserve our market share and try to make it bigger. But at the same time, we have to do it in a certain way, because it's not only about making the things right, but it's also about doing the right things. So it doesn't matter only if we bring the revenue that is requested, but it has to do also how we bring this revenue. So it's not only important if we bring the overall result, but it really matters how we brought this result. And this, where we come to what you just mentioned, we have to follow certain steps. We have to follow certain priorities. So it's apparent that our, let's say, mission is not only to sell more products, more technology, because we are a technology company, but at the same time to educate the market about the new trends. So we are here to enlarge our footprint, to create more customers, to create more projects, but at the same time we want to create the right direction. This means that we have to educate both our customer base and the net new customer base, the customers that we want to acquire, which are currently prospects, in order to tell them what they should do in order to be always ready. At the same time, we have also another big aspect, which is people. So we are not, let's say, a machine. We are a company, we're a group of people, we're a group of individuals, and my target is to convert this group of individuals into a team. And this is not always easy, because when you deal with people that have great competence, they have great personalities, they have great ambition, it's not always easy to bring them all together towards a common goal. So if you ask me what is the more, let's say, challenging part of my job, is how to make very good people become even better when they are a team.
Great. You said that occasionally you have to make some controversial decisions, and you said that that's kind of necessary for the growth and the expansion of SAP. Do you have any specific example of a time when you had to make a controversial decision that was necessary for growth?
Correct. Sometimes you have to decide whether you will get 100 euros from, let's say, a traditional product or to get 50 euros from an innovative product. So this is controversial because you target always to the highest result, but as I told you, it matters from where you get the money. So if you ask me, hey, if I want 100 euros from a traditional product or 50 euros from AI, I will definitely go to AI. Because if I go together with our customers to AI, this means that we create the foundation for the future. If we just take the opportunity to get more results without having the strategic view, this is something that will not last forever. So yes, this is controversial. Sometimes you decide to take less, but to follow your strategic approach.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to ask, obviously when implementing AI systems, there might be some customers who disagree with your opinion to do so. So I just want to ask, in your experience in SAP, where you've driven SAP through major shifts like cloud adoption and AI integration, what was the most effective way to get people on board with what you want to do and what you believe is right?
Yes, this is a really good question. First of all, when you say something interesting, everybody's interested. So what you have to do is to say something interesting. I don't believe that you say something interesting and the other cannot understand. This is for me is completely wrong. So you have to try to find something interesting to say, and then everybody will follow. Not all of them will come with the first wave because they have different approach. They need more time. Some people are more progressive. Some others wait to see what will happen. But overall, if you say something interesting, people will follow you. So SAP is a company that creates technology. This means that we have to prepare our customers always to be one or more steps ahead of the competition. And we have to make all our customers ready for whatever will happen in the future. Of course, okay, you can understand that this means that we cannot change the world, but what we can do, we can prepare our customers in order to be better than the competition. So traditionally, what we do is to create the foundation and to set the roadmap for the future. And this is what we do also with AI. AI, there's a lot of discussion around AI. AI is a reality. It's something that we will use in, let's say, some months or in some years without understanding that we are using it. So it's not something that will be, let's say, the epicenter. It will be just a part of our life. Right now, it's something new. That's why we discuss a lot about it. But I believe that very soon it will be just a part of our everyday life.
What steps is SAP taking to implement AI as part of their everyday roles?
In SAP, what we say, our, let's say, approach is the embedded AI. This means that in your ordinary screen, the environment that you operate already, there will be just a button that will bring you all the advantages and the new horizon that AI brings. So it will be something that you will not notice in your everyday life. It will be embedded in your already, let's say, operational experience, and it's something that you will use even without having any special competence or any special degree. So every employee, every user will have the help of the co-pilot, Joule, that will orchestrate other co-pilots, the existing co-pilots that we have right now, and will give the opportunity to every user to have all the benefits of AI embedded in the current environment.
Okay. At SAP, you said that one of your main roles is preparing your customers to be ready for the future. What does the average kind of job as an analyst or as a scientist at SAP look like, and what do they do to actively make sure that their customers are prepared for the future?
Yes, first of all, we are here, we exist because we have customers. So first of all, the customer is the center of everything. And we are here to understand what is the need that will be, let's say, in the everyday life of the customer in the upcoming future, and be ready to provide this solution ahead of the others. So we always try to be ahead of the competition. We always try to create the foundation for the competitive advantage of all our customers. We have two different type of operation. The operation that has to do with the development of the project, when we have the analysts, when we have all the scientists around the technology and the IT. And what we have the different organizations that belong to the countries when we try to implement what the others have developed. So in SAP, we have the development centers that are all over the world. Most of the analysts are there. This is the area of their responsibility. And what we have around the globe in the countries is the organization that are responsible for promoting and implementing the solutions that the analysts and all the scientists have developed. So what you will see in a country is not, let's say, the developers themselves, people that create the technology, but people that try to implement the technology to every single customer. What we have as a development is people from all over the universe. We have people from all different types of science, because we combine both technology and business. So it's not enough to have the technology acumen, you have to have also the business acumen. So it's a combination. There is a business need that has to be transformed to a technology system, and at the same time to understand how we have to create the right experience for the people, because the success of a system is if you can use it without any training.
Mm-hmm.
What is success is that the experience should be obvious. You have something and to be obvious to you how to use it. So we combine a lot of different people in order to create the final result. So it is technology, it is business, it is also somebody that has to do with the experience, because somebody has to tell them how to use it. And at the same time, we need people that can also become a little bit, let's say, more close to the future, to have this talent to understand what will be the future need.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a group of people, it's a team, everybody has a role, and everybody is very important.
When you as managing director have to lead the implementation of those new systems, what steps do you take to make sure that they're implemented efficiently, quickly, and well?
Correct, yes. First of all, you have to understand the real need. So what we say is that first you have to listen to the customer to understand what they need, and then to try to propose the right solution. So we don't sell products, we sell solutions, and we sell the outcome. And this is the basic principle. So what we try to do, first of all, to understand what is the current situation and where we want to go. And this is the discussion that takes place. And in most of the cases, this discussion takes place not only with the technology delegates of the customer, but also with the head of the company. So the first question is, where do you want to go? What is your vision? And what we try to facilitate this vision. Of course, we don't create the results of a company. What we do, we facilitate by providing technology that we help this company to run better.
So you
yes.
said when building a product, you take into account factors like the business aspects, technology, and experience.
Correct.
How do you balance out when making a product? How do you balance these factors out to make sure that you have a well-rounded product?
First of all, we try to do it. It's not always successful. But when you're a company with more than 50 years of experience, this becomes a habit. We know how to do it, but as you said, it's not always successful. So we try to correct it. If we see that something does not work the way we want, we try to correct it. And of course, we always listen to the feedback that we get from the customers. And this is the most valuable feedback. When somebody uses something, what you get as a feedback, it's the most important information in this process. So we try to do the best we can. We try to anticipate what is needed, but at the end of the day, we try to listen carefully to what we have as a feedback from our customer base.
At at SAP, what operational decisions are directly under your responsibility as opposed to the greater company, and where do you personally have the greatest impact?
Yes, as I told you, the strategy is centrally designed, so we don't design the strategy. What we try to do is to implement the strategy in the most successful way by understanding the the needs of the local market, because not every market is the same, and of course one size does not fit all. So our responsibility in every country is to implement the right way the strategy of the company, and at the same time create the foundation for the prosperity of the market that we operate. Because as British say, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you create the foundation for a prosperity in the community and in the market, this comes back to you multiplied. So we have a role as a company that provides technology, but at the same time we should also help this country to run better, and this is what we do. Our decision is, as I told you, how to implement it.
What types of decisions do you personally make that shape how technology is adopted across Greece, Malta, and Cyprus?
Usually, the decision that somebody has to take is where to start from. So when you have a new technology, you have to select from which part of your customer base you will start this adoption. You have to understand where this technology fits better and where the need is more urgent, because this will create the right way of implementing. If you manage to find the best, let's say, candidates for the early adoption, this will create the example also for the others. So, if I have to answer in a short way, the most important decision is to where to start from which customers you will try to start in promoting and implementing new technology.
You are responsible for markets in Greece, Cyprus, and Malta, correct?
Correct.
Okay. In a previous interview, you mentioned that Greece has made great leaps forward. So, from SAP's perspective, which sectors or business functions have seen the fastest AI adoption, and why do you think that might be the case?
Currently, the most, let's say, the sector with the highest growth the previous years is the energy sector. We have also huge growth in let's say, the commercial part, the what has to do with the consumer business, and at the same time, the traditional industry is always a very significant pillar of our market. Right now, it seems that the AI is more, let's say, digestible at the beginning to companies that have to do with connection, interaction with customers. So the customers that are more ready right now to implement AI are customers that have to do with the interaction with the consumer himself. So companies that have direct connection with the consumer.
You've also said before that technology played a decisive role in Greece exiting its crisis. What specific policy reforms and private sector investments were most critical to enabling this shift?
Yes. First of all, Greece had a very difficult decade. I'm very happy that you were very young at this point and you didn't face all these difficulties. But what happened is, after 10 years of crisis, the problem was very difficult, because it was not that it was this, let's say, financial crisis. It's also that everybody didn't have the opportunity to follow the steps of technology. So after 10 years, we had huge, let's say, financial impact, but at the same time, the majority of our companies were behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, going to Cuba. It's, if you live 50 years without importing technology, this leaves you in the previous era. So what we had to do is to be very aggressive, to try to cover the gap that has been created, and this created a huge wave of implementations, projects, and it was something that we couldn't afford to do it, to put it this way, meaning that the projects were more than the projects that we could have implemented. But the overall result was very positive, because right now, after 5-6 years, needless to say that we had also COVID in the meantime. So we had to implement also during COVID, remotely, and following all the necessary, let's say, precautions for the disease. So Greece made huge steps. This goes also in public sector, because a lot of projects have taken place in public sector, not all of them with SAP. We have some projects in public sector. Right now, what is implemented is currently implemented is the ERP for the central government. And at the same time, in private sector, the majority of the companies took advantage also from the RRF program, and they have created very significant projects, and they made huge steps ahead. So we are very happy and proud that we managed in 5-6 years' time to cover a lot of the lost ground due to the crisis. And right now, what we see is that the Greek economy is very, let's say, has a very positive future, and everybody believes that the years that will come will be better than the years that we used to have. And this is also reflected in the stock market. What you see in the stock market is, in most of the cases, the reflection of the reality.
What steps do you think are important for a company that is going through a hard time, let's say it's a crisis or just some internal issue, to progress every day and get better and grow?
I believe that the most important thing is to have bold leadership. You know, there's no easy life. There's nobody that will have, let's say, in all his life, pleasant news every day. So yes, our life is a group of challenges, a group of problems that we face every day. What I believe is the most important is not to try to understand why some things happen, but to try to find a solution. So for me, the foundation of every successful, let's say, project or decision or whatever is the bold leadership. You have to have the ability to take decisions and to not just trying to survive. You have to try to find the way to bring the vision that you have and to live your dreams.
Okay. Would we go into a bit into Joule? Would
Sure.
you say? Okay, so from what I understood, Joule is an AI that helps give data reports and analytics for certain businesses. So in the next 5 years, what impact do you think Joule will have on enterprise decision making and data practices?
First of all, Julius is your best friend. What we say is that when you get to know each other, you will stay forever together. Joule is a very small button in every page that you can ask whatever you want, and Joule is responsible to answer. At the same time, Joule is also creating the foundation for the agentic AI. So you will not just ask questions, but you will also ask things that you want to happen. So Joule, from, let's say, the future that we see is the co-pilot that you will have every day in your life. So it's your partner. And Joule is responsible of coordinating all the other co-pilots that all the famous companies have created and deliver to you the best possible result. So Joule will be your professional partner, and I believe that it's something that we will see in the upcoming months or the upcoming year, that almost every user will use Joule as the main differentiator and the X factor in order to create more productivity. So with Joule, you can make your life easier. With Joule, you can be more productive. With Joule, you can focus on the tasks that need your attention and not the tasks that need just repetitive action.
Is Joule a proprietary model created by SAP, or is it based on APIs from other companies?
Joule is SAP.
Joule is SAP.
Yes, it's our co-pilot.
Okay.
And Joule is not a co-pilot that the other co-pilots. Is an orchestrator.
Okay.
So Joule orchestrates all the other co-pilots.
Okay. You've also stated that Europe is not a pioneer in technology and that the big hyperscalers are all not European. First off, do you believe it is possible for Europe to catch up at this point? And if so, what concrete industrial and policy steps must Europe take in the next 3 to 5 years to close the structural dependence?
Yes, it's not so easy. It's not so easy. We cannot change how the world works. Okay, US is the leader not only in technology, in a lot of things. I believe that what we have to do is to understand what is our role and to create our own brand. We cannot imitate. We cannot do what US companies are doing because right now they are leaders. They are very good in what they are doing. So I don't believe this will be very clever to try to uh, take their market share and bring it to Europe. What I believe is we have to find the way to cooperate, and we have to understand that Europe has to invest more in technology, to understand that technology is something needed in order to create the prosperity of the future, and at the same time to try to find the right way in order to position our technology, because we have also European technology. So we don't want to displace US technology. I don't believe this is very clever. What we have to do is we have to develop our own technology. And sometimes we have to use our own technology, because if you take a look at the geopolitical environment, sometimes technology is proprietary, so it's not available for everybody. So yes, we have to create technology that it's needed for our security. We have to create technology that is needed for our prosperity, but at the same time, we have to cooperate because we all live in the same world.
So, what would be some barriers then that prevent Europe from reaching USA's level or competing at a good level? And how can they overcome them in the future?
I believe that the biggest difference is the social. In US, the talents of all over the world are trying to find their future. So the collection and the capacity that US have is incomparable. So if you check all the talents, from sports to science to everything, wants to go and live their life in US. This is something that if we don't change, if we don't change this thing, it's not possible to compete, because all, let's say, the creme de la creme of the talent wants to operate and have a professional life in US. So this, I believe, is the biggest advantage that US has here now. And at the same time, US is the leader in everything. So yes, this is something that we have to take as granted. But at the same time, I believe that we have to create Europe, the environment to uh, develop in a different way other aspects of this technology area. And at the same time, we have to make Europe more attractive in order to be also a place that the talent wants to live and provide their service. So we have to become more attractive, more competitive as a place to work, and at the same time to understand where we are better and try to create our own brand in this area instead of trying to compete in every sector, in every area of competition with US.
What specific systemic changes in funding, research, salaries, or regulation do you think are necessary to keep that talent pool in Europe?
First of all, I think we have to create a vision. Europe has to create a new vision. This is what will make people want to stay here. And at the same time, we have to understand that new generations have new ideas. So it's not only about the financial part, if the salary is bigger there or here. I believe and I believe you are you're better to reply to this question. I believe that the new generations want to see other things. So Europe has to be modernized. We should not follow always the traditional approach. And at the same time, we have to create the foundation for new technologies, as I said. This will create the foundation for new talents to decide to stay in Europe. But overall, I believe that the situation is not so bad as it seems. Europe makes some steps. And I believe that what we will see in the future is a more balanced approach. So, if you ask my question, I'm optimistic about the future. I believe that Europe will create the foundation for a new era, and I believe that we will understand that the balance is better for everybody.
You've also said in reference to Europe that we cannot stay consumers and that we have to create our own technology. What ecosystem changes in funding, regulation, or talent development are necessary to shift Europe from tech consumption to large-scale tech creation?
First of all, we have to preserve the talent. We have to make the talent stay in Europe. And at the same time, we have to not just, as I said, consume technology, but to create. So we have to change our focus from consuming to creating. This means that all the state funding should promote the creation of technology. I'm not a fan of state funding, but at the beginning is necessary. We have to create the right environment for people that want to invest. So yes, we need to help people to create business in technology creation and not just in technology consumption. European Union made significant steps towards this direction, and I believe that we will see the results in the upcoming future.
Could you discuss some of the progress maybe that was made by Europe? Any specific implementations or advancements in technology that you've seen?
A very good example is the RRF program, the program that we had in Europe after the COVID. This promoted a lot the technology, and not only the consumption but also the creation. So I believe that whenever Europe decides to move towards a certain direction, even with some delays, the final result is positive.
Is there any specific steps you take at SAP to try to create new technology and kind of bring that goal to Europe?
Yes. First of all, SAP is a European company. It's an
Right.
international company, but we started from Europe. Right now, SAP is the European company among the US giants. So if you see where is technology right now, you will see all the US companies that right now leading the race, and SAP is the biggest European company that it is a part of this group. So yes, I believe SAP is trying to keep Europe in the race.
Can you describe a case where a strategic decision you made at SAP directly changed the trajectory of a major organization or public institution?
Anyway, I don't want to enter into a lot of details because, as you can understand, this is not something that has to go public. But as SAP, we tried a lot to create, let's say, projects in the public sector that helped a lot in bringing the public sector in the new era. And this happened, of course, together with our partners. So I believe that in a few years you will find out what is the outcome of those projects. Right now they are being implemented, but I believe that the overall result will be very positive for the Greek economy and for the Greek citizens that will have the opportunity to have this type of service from the state.
So SAP is obviously diffused into many different markets and fields. In your conference alongside Dhindia as a Minister of Defense, Dhindia has mentioned that military and defense technologies are rapidly integrating AI softwares through the funding of the European Committee. Could you clarify if SAP develops AI softwares for these defense projects or if it's involved in anything like that?
SAP provides solutions also for the army, not for the Greek army right now, but it's something that we do. Of course, as you can understand, this type of information is not public.
Yeah.
But definitely technology is right now a very significant part of the security organizations, to put it this way. I'm talking about the armed forces. It's apparent that without technology you cannot do anything. And it's apparent if you see what happens around us, that right now technology is the X factor in most of the cases, because technology means efficiency, technology means information, technology means having the competitive advantage, ahead of, of the competition, to put it in a polite way.
You've also said that the average technology acumen in Greece is not so low compared to European standards.
Correct.
What specific steps do you think Greece has taken that other European countries can
You know,
replicate?
Greece, in most of the cases, have a delay. But when we start, we go very fast. This is what happened. You know, we lost a lot of ground due to the crisis. At the same time, we have to admit that Greece is not a very progressive society. So we are not what we say the early adopters. We always wait to see how this will be implemented in the neighbor company, and then do it what we believe a safer way. My opinion is a little bit different. I believe that if the competitor does it before yourself, then you have a problem. But anyway, as we said, we lost time, we lost ground, but then we made very significant steps. So right now, I believe that we are in a very good stage. Greece and the Greek companies are sometimes ahead of the competition because they converted the disadvantage of the crisis to the advantage of having the most up-to-date solutions.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this happened after the Second World War, when the countries that lost the war were ahead of the winners at the end, because they built up again their industry, their infrastructure, and they end up with more modern infrastructure and industry. So I believe that right now the majority of the Greek companies are in a very good shape. They have up-to-date systems, and I believe also the management approach is a lot different. It was always our competitive advantage because the Greek entrepreneurship is significant. What we can see, you know, throughout the history is that Greeks are good entrepreneurs. But when we manage to combine the talent of the entrepreneur together with the scientific approach of management, then we can go even higher.
Could you describe some of those specific steps that Greece took to turn their disadvantage, as you said, into their advantage?
Yes, I believe that this fast adoption of let's say, the IT solutions and the adoption of whatever trend is around us, this created this growth and this progress. Just to give you an example, before COVID, the selling through internet in Greece was very, very low. We had very few e-shops. We took the opportunity of COVID, and then right now what you can see is that you can buy almost everything in Greece without going to the physical store. So in 3-4 years, we managed to cover the gap that we had 5 years ago. This is let's say one example. The other example is that during the capital controls, before the capital controls in Greece, we didn't have, let's say, credit cards. We didn't have this type of banking. Everybody used to go to the branch and take cash and pay with cash. The opportunity in a lot of brackets that we had during the crisis made a different environment. Right now, everybody pays with credit cards, so we don't have cash. So that's what I say. In Greece, sometimes we delay, but when we start running, we run very fast.
You mentioned that Greek entrepreneurs have certain traits that distinguish them from others, where that also allows for like faster progress in certain fields. Where have you seen this?
What I see, first of all, is that in Greece, you have to cope with a lot of different challenges. So this makes people more competent at the end. Because when you can survive in this type of environment, you can survive everywhere. And at the same time, it has to do also with the DNA. We have the DNA of creating business. You can see also what happens in the shipping industry. Greece is a traditional power in shipping industry, and we are a very small country. So this is something that we have in our gems. We want to do business. And if we, as I said, if we manage to combine the talent with a scientific approach, because business is not just talent, you have to know how to do business. And if you manage to bring people that have this competence and come together with your talent, then you can create great results. What I have seen so far is that we have examples. Okay, it's not necessary to say which examples we have. We don't want to create an advertisement for anybody, but we have examples of companies that started from Greece and created a very significant global success. And I believe this will happen again. We have a lot of good companies that can play a multinational role. It's not easy because they start from a small market, and this is always a disadvantage because in order to grow at the beginning, you need to get the power of your local market. It's not easy to grow by starting and exporting. Usually you become bigger in your own country, and then you start exporting to other countries. So this is a disadvantage that we have, but right now I believe that we have very good examples of companies that can be internationally successful, and this will happen in the upcoming years.
Giving advice to those kind of starting out Greek entrepreneurs, would you advise them to stay in Greece or go out of country to somewhere like Silicon Valley?
Right now, business is international. You can do business from everywhere. First of all, I don't know if I can give an advice because I'm not an entrepreneur. But what I can say, I can only express my opinion. What I can say is that it doesn't matter where you operate. The question is if you have a good idea. And in most of the cases, this is the crucial part of this discussion. Do you have a good idea? Do you have something that it's really innovative? And innovative does not mean that it's something that nobody else has ever thought about. Innovative means that you can do something that everybody does in a different way. So you have the disruptive innovation when you invent something, and you have the non-disruptive innovation when you excel something that it's already in place, but not in this specific way. And I believe that we have done a lot of things. We have invented the Freddo espresso. This is a Greek invention. If you go abroad, you cannot find this type of coffee. This is just an example. But I believe that we have very good, talented people that can achieve a lot of things. And if you check the web, you can find out that we have very, very powerful startups, Greek startups, that made huge success in a worldwide environment. And I believe this is just the beginning. We will see more and more of them.
Do you think there are any large untapped technological opportunities or like not tapped into enough right now that either larger companies like SAP or a smaller startup could take advantage of?
This is the $1 billion question. This is something that it's not easy to be answered. I believe that the problems create the solutions at the same time. So when we have a problem, everybody tries to find a solution. So life gives us the opportunity to think about the future. And at the end of the day, as we have seen in the past, there are always opportunities. There are always opportunities. And the question is if you have the right mindset in order to understand where are the opportunities. But yes, I believe there are a lot of opportunities. I cannot enter to details, but I can see that there are a lot of opportunities. And I believe that always the human factor will be the center of every development. I'm not pessimistic. I don't believe that AI will replace humans. I believe that AI will be just the partner, the assistant, but never AI will become the decision maker at the end.
And just to wrap us up, if you were giving your 18-year-old self advice in the modern day era, what advice would you give and why?
I believe that the ingredients of success are always the same. First of all, I believe that you have what really matters is how badly you want it. I believe that talent is a commodity. We see a lot of talented people without any major success. I believe that the X factor is the mentality. It's what makes you energized and how you want to live your life. So I believe that the biggest advice or the best advice is that try to find what you really want and try to become the best, not in the neighborhood or in the country, but in the universe. And if it is what you really want, you have a lot of let's say chances to become very very good and actually to become the best. At the same time, I believe that you should always follow your plan A. Nobody became number one following plan B. So, and if the plan A doesn't work, you have to create a new plan A, but never go to plan B. So if you are 18, you have to be ready to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is no barrier. There is nothing that can stop you. I'm not saying that you will become the best because you want to, but you can become the best you can become. So it doesn't matter if you are the best in the universe. What really matters is if you can be as best as you can. And you can never become better than what you have dreamed of. So keep on dreaming and keep trying to become not the best in the neighborhood or in the country, but the best in the world.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
as
being
well.
here.
Thank you. Have a nice day.